Another day, another round of political mudslinging about, no, not the carbon tax, surely. It seems like that's all they're talking about in Canberra these days, and the odd cow, of course. But political editor Hugh Riminton tells us the opposition today were actually employing slightly more creative tactics against the government.
The Abbott method is relentless.
It's the initial blast, isn't it?
A daily spray against the carbon tax, the visuals reinforcing the message. A man of steel cutting through. And always ready with a line.
The last thing we want to do is to bring down the shutters on the Australian steel industry.
And it's working for him.
Now, do you want that one again? Is that okay?
The latest news poll charts Julia Gillard's dissatisfaction rate as it soars, her approval rating commensurately plummeting since she broke her election promise and announced plans for a carbon tax. And now a new blow. Jenny George was the first woman to head the ACTU before retiring at the last election as the member for Throsby, based on the steel and coal mine city of Wollongong. In a letter to a local paper, Jenny George argues steel should be excluded from the carbon tax until there's a level playing field with Australia's competitors. She's unimpressed with promises of industry assistance, arguing there is no compensation for a job that is lost and not replaced.
Prime Minister, isn't Jenny George right?
I certainly understand that the steel industry is under a great deal of pressure.
The government says opposition claims about the impact of a carbon tax on steel and coal are absurdly overstated.
Ridiculous hyperbole. Shrill, increasingly shrill.
A $20 a tonne carbon price, for example, would add about 1% to the average price of export coal. But mines that release a lot of methane, so-called gassy mines, the government admits might be in trouble, and that includes some around Wollongong.
Any Labor member of Parliament for a mining seat ought to be speaking out on behalf of jobs in his or her electorate.
That flushed out Jenny George's successor in Throsby.
We want the 95% exemption. In addition to that, we need assistance.
He warns if the Greens push too hard in the carbon talks, they could collapse.
We need to get a message to the Greens that they've got to have a bit of a reality check as well.
A reality check also for Nicola Roxon, with the revelation the minister pushing the plain packaging laws for tobacco wrote to Philip Morris 6 years ago, inviting the tobacco giant to a Labor fundraiser.
Obviously, that's embarrassing for me.
Labor had banned tobacco donations the previous year.
Hypocrisy in politics is a toxin, Minister Roxon. She says one thing and does another. She says one thing and does another.
See you back at the madhouse.
The coalition still receives hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from Big Tobacco. A Labor MP who closely watches the industry believes tobacco giants leaked the letter for maximum embarrassment.
And it's pure revenge for the fact that she's trying to stop the effects of tobacco smoking on the Australian people's health.
Now tonight the politicians draw their swords for the big night of the year in Canberra. This is the Press Gallery's midwinter ball. Although it's been such a reliable source of scandal in years past, who knows what they'll get up to this year.
Have a great night, Hugh. Given the mess over the past